Right, when we talk about the factor theorem, what you really need to know is that the remainder theorem and the factor theorem are actually almost exactly the same thing, okay? The application of them is exactly the same. The only difference is this. If something is a factor, it means that it divides into another number with no remainders. It's perfectly divisible, okay? So if there's no remainders, then your r would have to be equal to 0, all right? Now that means that when we apply the remainder theorem, if something is a factor, it just means that it has to be equal to 0. So for example, if I had a linear polynomial like ax plus b, if I solved for x for this linear polynomial, and I did it by making b a negative b, and I'm dividing by a, so we'll end up getting negative b over a. If I take that negative b over a and I substitute it into the x's of your f of x function, it has to equal 0 because it's a factor. There are no remainders. That's the difference, okay? So here's an example. If 2x minus 1 is a factor of f of x, we are trying, it says prove that 2x minus 1 is a factor. Now, if it was a factor, then when I substitute my x's with, now remember the idea is you solve for x here, so you let it equal 0, and you actually solve for x, and I'm squashing it here, but x is equal to 1 over 2. So when I substitute my x's with 1 over 2, the whole idea is that I'm supposed to land up with a value of 0. If I do get a 0, then yes, you've proven that it is a factor. So that's what we're going to do. We need to substitute everywhere where we've got an x, we're going to substitute a half. All right, so I've got a half squared minus 4 times by a half plus 2, okay? And let's see what that gives me. So I've got negative 2. This is giving me a 1 over 8. This is giving me 1 over 4. 4 divided by 2 is giving me negative 2 plus 2. This will go into 8 4 times. So I have got negative 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4 minus 2 plus 2. And what do we land up getting? We land up getting 0. And that's exactly what we said. If we get a solution of 0, then it said prove that x minus 2 is a factor. So we finish off by saying, therefore, 2x minus 1 is a factor of f of x. Okay, and you proved that by showing that when you substituted that positive 1 over 2, you got the value of 0. Okay, right, so that is how we apply the factor theorem. The next 2 videos are going to be examples of it, so please make sure you join me there.